y'all. I'm Raleigh Brown. I'm here for another curve maintaining the flatness of the curve concert. And that was a little tune by the great mandolin player John Reichman called Little Pine Siskin. I see on my little chart here Stephen DeHaas, first guy in, Michael Anthony Wood, Owen O'Malley, Kathy Marzik, Donna Greenberg, Terry St. James, John Kazin, Marcia Lowe, and S.A. Tudhope, and Charlie Bryant, the court jester of Raleigh World, and Mike Verbeek, and Ann Mintz is listening with Clifford Wagner, and Deb Libby Clark, and Pam Zappardino, and Carol Prad. Okay, what was your question? Yeah, that's a beautiful tune, Little Pine Siskin. I heard a video of Molly Tuttle demonstrating a pre-war guitar. And she played that tune, and I said, I don't know what that tune is, but I want to figure out what it is and learn it. And then somewhere I found out what it was. And then I looked up John Reichman's version on the mandolin, and then I learned what I could. So welcome aboard today. Let's do a clink here early while we have time. I salute you, members, denizens of Raleigh World, I salute you. I am actually multiply coffeed up today, which could end up being a problem at the end of the day. So as some of you might have seen on my posts, we're going to do a couple tunes by Paul Siebel today. Paul was one of the early Greenwich Village singer-songwriters way back in the Bob Dylan era. And he was a much beloved character. And he, in his later years, he kind of had stage fright. And Ann Mintz might write some stuff on this. She knew him much better than I did. I barely knew him. And so he didn't perform anymore, and he just went and lived a normal life. I think he drove a truck delivering seafood for a while. Eventually settled in in Maryland, I think, and worked for a Parks and Rec commission, and mowed the lawn. And he liked it. He enjoyed his life. He did not need to be a singer-songwriter. His songs have lived on for a long time, and the two I'm going to do here are two great favorite songs of mine. Well, they all said Louise was not half bad. It was written on the walls and window shades, and how she'd act the little girl. A deceiver, don't believe her, that's her trade. Sometimes a bottle of perfume, flowers, maybe some lace. Men brought Louise 10-cent trinkets. Their intentions were easily traced, and everybody knew sometimes she cried. Ah, but women like Louise, they get by. and everybody thought it kind of sad when they found Louise in her room. They'd always put her down below their kind, yet some cried when she died this afternoon. Louise rode home on the mail train, somewheres to the south, I heard them say. Too bad it ended so ugly. Too bad she had to go that way. Oh, but the wind is blowing cold tonight. So good night, Louise, good night. So that's Louise by Paul Siebel. I first ran into Paul. He came to Philly to play at the Cherry Tree, and when he would come down here, he would get in touch with Jack McGann and say, "Hey Jack, can you put together a backup band for me?" And Jack would do that, and Jack would be his lead guitarist. And in this situation, Jack was also the opening act. So Jack brought me in to be his lead guitarist. So I played guitar in Jack's band, and then Jack played guitar in Paul's band. And after the gig was over, we all piled in a car or two and drove down to WHYY, the radio station, the NPR radio station here in Philly, where Gene Shea, who was the dean of radio folk DJs, had his show. And actually, it might have been WIOQ. I can't remember now. Anyhow, all I remember about it is that we all went into we all went on the show together, and there were about 6 of us in there. I think Ken Ulansey might have been there. I know it was Jack and me and Paul, and I don't think Jay Ansel was there, but he might have been, and Dennis Gormley. And Gene had us all in the control room with him, and it was the first time I'd been on Gene's radio show, and it's probably not telling tales out of school at this point to say that the room was, you could barely see across the little control room from the marijuana smoke in the room, and I realized Gene's real genius that night, because he was controlling the board too, and he was able to get us through the show with never the sound of somebody toking down on the air. But it was an interesting night, and that was the first time I met Paul. And I met him later when our friend Winnie Winston passed away, and Paul came up for the memorial service. And I'm not sure if he would have remembered me. He didn't really know me, but he seemed like a fine guy, and a guy who found a way, even though he had some fame, he found a way to have enough in his life without having to be famous. So I'm going to do one more song by Paul. And I've done this one on here a lot. It's a real favorite of mine. And I should mention, we might go a little long today, because I'm planning on talking about some other stuff later in the show. So this song is based on a Willa Cather poem, And Michael Tierson, who I don't think can be here today because he's doing something else. He and I were chatting last night and agreed, both knowing the Cather poem as well, that it was that Paul's rewriting of it to make it into a song just really pulled the story together in a way that the poem, as lovely as it was, didn't. And it's really a songwriting tour de force on his part, I think. Those other years, those dusty years, when they drove the big herds through, I tried to forget the miles we rode, Spanish Johnny, you. He'd sit beside the water ditch when all the herds were in, and he'd never harm a child, sang to his mandolin. He sang the old songs and the old talk, the dealings of our game. Spanish Johnny seldom spoke, sang the songs of Spain. And his talk with men was bitter talk when he was drunk on gin. Those were golden things he sang to his mandolin. We had to stand, we had to judge, we had to stop him then. For those hands so gentle to a child had killed so many men. He died a hard death long ago, before the roads came in. The night before he swung, he sung to his mandolin. We carried him out in the morning light, a man who'd done no good. Laid him down in the cold, cold clay, stuck in a cross of wood. And a letter we wrote to his kinfolk, tell them where he'd been. We sent it on down to Mexico, along with the mandolin. Spanish Johnny by Paul Siebel. He will be missed by his many friends, and his music will live on for a long time, I think. So I'm going to do some announcements here after I get this thing tuned back up. I was going to switch guitars for the drop D thing, but I really love this guitar. So I won't switch until the next tune. So let's look at some who else is here. So that part, Dave Mason is here, and John Stritzinger. Hi, John. Brian Kuiper, he actually woke up and made it. And Betsy McIntyre is here. Hi, Bets. And Howard Hobbs. Hey, man. Cindy Glorioso, who I think is down in Florida these days. She's another Ohio friend. And Andreas Postler over in Germany, last time I heard. And Carol Pratt asks, in the Dave Van Ronk era? Yes, it was in the Dave Van Ronk era. And that Paul Siebel was in New York. And Ann Mintz has a post here. You can read it on what Paul did later on. And Bruce McNeil is here. Steve Davidson. Terry Smith. Hey, Terry. And Michael Miller is here. And his lovely wife, who I met in a Zoom meeting, is singing along. And Tim G is here from Detroit. He is still working with the 9 DVD instructional videos of mine that he bought years ago. Keep it up. There's a lifetime of stuff in there. I put everything I knew in there. And Ann Mintz will post a link to the Susie Does Siebel, Susie Thompson, who's a great singer and musician out on the West Coast. She did a couple concerts of just singing a whole album of Paul Siebel's. And Amy Farabee is here. Hi, Amy. She's here twice. She's here on YouTube and on Facebook. And Jean-Pierre Cador, who's becoming a regular here. Judy Wong. And Sue Deckhart. Hi, Sue. Lots of folks I haven't seen in a while. Ken Terrell in the UK. And so Mark Cosgrove, who's a friend of many of us here, plays in David Bromberg's band. And he said that Paul never recorded Spanish Johnny because the Cather estate wouldn't give permission. Bromberg recorded it anyhow. Yeah, David doesn't suffer fools gladly. And Pat Reagans is here. There's a lot of you. I'm talking Connie Adams, Pam Zappardino. Just want to make sure I try to say hi to everybody. Terry St. James, Jay Peterson, Mel Rivera. Hi, Mel. And Steve Drucker. Hey, Steve. Steve, send me an email sometime and just let me know how you're doing. I don't know what's going on with you, with whether you're moving or what's going on. So I'm going to do things a little out of order today. Usually I do the instrumental now. Well, first I'll do the announcements. So first announcement, I always point to my little PayPal thing here. For today, it's come to my attention that one of the denizens of Raleigh World, who's a woman named Kathy Mestman, who is here on and off over the last several months and was always very complimentary about my music, she's got a Facebook fundraiser going because she's about to be evicted from her home and she needs some way of living until she finds a new place to live. It sounds like a horrible situation of bureaucracy. So I gave a little, and if you can, if you were thinking of leaving a little money for me today instead, it's pinned right now at the top of my Facebook page, and you can go there and maybe you could leave her a little donation. I don't know her in real life, and I'm just assuming this is all above board, and she's having a really, really rough time because it's been going on for a couple weeks. So if you can help. If not, I understand. Hello to the Invisibles. The Invisibles are Judith Fox, Kit Sarikaku, Kate Mack, Linda Worster, Billy Rubenstein, Invisible, as we call him, and Joel Biget and Mario Prue. And I don't know how I remember even that many of them, and there might be a couple more. I send my regards to you all, whether you're invisible or not. So, and then today's Wednesday. I'm on at 3 p.m. Tomorrow is Thursday. Martin McNeil at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, I believe. Alex Bevan at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Remember, you can always go back and watch one of those later, or you can watch the first 45 minutes of Alex and then tune in for the last hour or so of Martin. And Martin does a great blues show, and Alex is Alex, a great singer-songwriter and a legend in his own time in Northeast Ohio and even farther than that. On Friday, I believe, they can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe we have Warren Bendler at 3, Slim Edelman at 3:30, and whether Bunny is supposed to be back from her European travels, I don't know. If she is, I'm sure she'll post. And she may not be, though. And then, and if she is on, it'll usually be at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Saturday, Dakota Dave Hull at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 10 Central, where he lives, with Guitar Day, which is always a joy. And then I'll be back Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my original now, and then I'm going to do the instrumental, and then I'm going to talk to you, for you guitar players especially, stick around, because I'm going to talk about how to arrange, how to get the basics of a tune when you want to be able to improvise on it. Toby Simmons is here. Hi, Toby. And who else am I missing? I do not know. Lauren Payne. Okay. So this is one of my originals. It's called You Were the One, and it's on the new CD, which you can get at rolleybrown.bandcamp.com. And this is it. Well, I've lost you. You won't be back again. But I'm ready to move on. You were fiercely independent way back when. Still, I never saw it coming till the end. You were the one who helped me walk the line, and it was you when all was said and done. You stood with me, but you were never mine, and now you're gone. You were the one. Well, there are things I wish I'd said when you were here. You didn't always make it easy to confide. In many ways, we each made our love clear. Yet there were privacies that we each kept inside. You were the one who helped me walk the line, and it was you when all was said and done. You stood with me, but you were never mine. Now you're gone. You were the one. We each could stand alone from the start, so I'll be strong and I'll be moving on. There is a part of you forever in my heart, as cold as steel, but warmer than the sun. You were the one who helped me walk the line, and it was you When all was said and done, you stood with me, but you were never mine. Now you're gone. You were the one. Now you're gone. You were the one. So that's was written for my dear wife Janice after she passed away. You might, if you look on my page today, there's a post about one of our students, Ine Jones, who's a lovely woman, became an acupuncturist, and she has funded a scholarship in Janice's name at the Wand School, and which is the acupuncture program that we both taught in for many years. And she is, we just gave out the first one, a young woman named Alexis Korafos, I think it's pronounced, and Alexa. She was Alexa. I was worried about what her household must be like when people said, Alexa, come to the dinner table. But, you know, who knows? It could have been worse. They could have been named Siri. Anyhow, there's a post about that there. I put a picture up. The school had put one up. I went down there and we had a little photo op. And it's a really lovely thing in memory of Janice and all that she gave to the acupuncture profession and that school. So anyhow, I'm going to play you an instrumental now. It's called Falling Grace, and it's not a jazz standard per se, because not that many people know it. It was written by a jazz bass player named Steve Swallow, and but it's a great tune. And then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how one tries to put together a tune like that. So this is let me just adjust my little thing here so I can get my foot up on there. And here we go with Falling Grace. So that's Falling Grace. And so when I put together a tune like that, so what I did during that, I played 4 times through the tune. The first time I played the actual written melody. The second time and third time, I just improvised over the chord changes. And then the fourth time, I came back to the melody and brought it back home. When I put together a tune like this, and this is a great example because it has a lot of chords in it. You may have noticed that. And so for those of you who aren't musicians, a chord is 3 or more notes played at the same time. And there are major chords like this, and there are minor chords, and they each have a recipe. Major chords tend to sound a little brighter, minor chords sound a little darker. If you add a 4th note, it's usually what they call the 7th. The chord is built 1, 3, 5 from its major scale or minor scale. And then the 7th is the 4-part harmony. And so then you get the difference between a major and a major 7th, or a minor 7th. It's just different colorations, and then there's other stuff too. Anyhow, so any place those notes, so in the case of for example, A minor, it has 3 notes in it, E, A, and C. And any place that those 3 notes occur together on the neck, that's an A minor chord. It's not just this. So if you're a beginning guitar player and somebody says this is the A minor chord, what they really mean is this is the easiest A minor chord. So when I put together a tune, I take the chord progression and I try to find it on at least 2 or 3 places on the neck. So this chord progression goes A flat, A minor, D7, G minor, then down F minor, B flat, E flat, D, G minor, C7, and back to F, and it goes around from there. I don't want to spend too much time. So then I have to go find that somewhere else. So I go, well, here's the A flat major 7 that starts on. I could find that up here. And then it's going to go A minor, and there's a D chord here, and there's a G minor, F minor, B, E flat, how did I get there? Oh yeah, D, G minor again, and that's about where we went to with that. So I find it here, and then I might find one in the middle here. And then with each of those chord shapes, I know kind of where the scales are around them. So if I'm playing a G minor down here, I have this. Those notes are obvious notes I could play with it. If I'm up here, this is another G minor. And then what I'm doing is I'm going to a shape on the neck, and then from that shape, I have the underpinnings of the chord, and then I can play some notes under it, and then I try and keep something resembling rhythm. And that's how a tune like that gets put together. So, and there's a lot of, one of the things about it is that nobody ever has total control of the fingerboard. Very few people. And only in certain styles. But so you have to play within the confines of your limited set of chops, because it's infinite. There's billions of possibilities there. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And we'll do. We haven't done a bossa nova kind of mantra in a while, so we'll go. Be happy, be healthy, be brave, and be calm. Be kind, it's a snap. If you get cranky, take a nap. Thank you for joining me. I love you all. I will hope to see you on Sunday, and I hope you get to see a bunch of good music between now and then.